I love this woman. She's a great gal.
You're a keeper too. Don and Tracy have been in business together, each doing their own style of using their own gifts. Don has a sight and sound security business, technology business, and he puts in home theaters and does low voltage wiring in homes and businesses, and does sight and sound things. And Tracy works out of the same building, but in her design studio, and she has several designers that work with her, and they have all earned awards for the kind of design work that they do, and we're real proud of both of them in the businesses that they have had. And they have Ryan. Ryan has sometimes worked for them, and then at other times he has worked in pitch to pitch, and he loves the baseball industry. And right now I believe he is doing scouting for the Indians. I'm not sure, but one of the baseball teams. He does scouting and coaching. Carrie is a family counselor, family and child counselor in a Christian organization. They have the 3 kids, Addie, who was 5. Next is Jack, who is 3, and Andrew, who just turned 2. And a very busy household, very active children, and beautiful children. And Don and Tracy get to enjoy being grandparents of these children and spend a lot of time with them, and that's real enjoyable for them. Caitlin has always been involved in soccer since she was just a little girl, and she has used that skill to create some jobs for herself as a stay-at-home mom. She is coaching and also does management of coaching for the North Suburban Soccer Association, and she and Jake do a lot of scheduling and conducting clinics, and there's about 1,500 kids that are under their tutelage in one way or another. And Jake works in insurance at an insurance company, and he spends a lot of after work hours not only with his family but with the soccer kids in the summertime. Their children are a delight. Kennedy is now 2, and a beautiful little girl too, and a lot of fun. And little Henry, he is just a bundle of joy, smiling all the time, and he brings a lot of joy to the family.
My daughter Mary is just another amazing lady, a beautiful girl who is now working with the financial group, and she does a lot of their public relations. She does scripting for the radio show that her boss is on, and sometimes she's even on the show. And she just does a lot of PR for them, represents them at chambers and things like that. She has 2 lovely children, the oldest of which is Lindsay. Lindsay lives in Indiana, Fort Wayne, and she's kind of an administrator, a creative person for a college. Does a lot of setups for photography and things like that. Seems like
the publication and promoting of the college. She's in charge of all of that publications.
And she's married to Jared, who he designs limbs, what do you call them, knee replacements, things like that. He does it on the computer. And an amazing young man that has really good financial moxie. A beautiful little girl named Eliana. I think she just turned 4 months this week, and I think we have been blessed and blessed and blessed again with our grandkids and now our great grandchildren.
Okay, now Martha, our youngest, she's married to Jim Brangenberg, and Martha has an accounting background, and she has been the manager for a Christian bookstore at her church for the last 8 or 9 years, and very much operates it as if it was her own business, and a very good manager. And Martha works with her husband too in a radio show called I Work for Him. Jim is promoting and doing a lot of counseling of business people as they bring Christ into their business work days. And we're very proud of how each of them are expanding that, and we see a good future for them in that business. And Joshua, their oldest son, is following in Grandpa's footsteps to a certain degree. He is graduated in photographic journalism and does a lot of photography and writing, and we're seeing some of his articles published in the Jacksonville, Florida area. He's married to Amelia and has been married about a year and a half. She works alongside with him on many occasions, and they live in Jacksonville. Sarah, who just graduated from college this last year.
Well, opportunity won out over climate, so Sarah's accepted a job as executive assistant to Brandon and his chain of pizza ranches. He has 4 in Iowa and Illinois, and it's grown to the point where he needs all the help that Sarah can provide, and she's a very capable assistant. I think it's a win-win for the two of them.
I guess you can see that Ted and I are very proud of our children and our grandchildren and the accomplishments that they have made. It's interesting how many of them have become entrepreneurs. And I think they have seen you and I in our entrepreneurial lives, and they have grown up in the entrepreneurial world. And it has kind of rubbed off on several of them in the businesses that they have chosen to follow. And I can see how God has gifted each of them in their own ways, and they have really put their gifts and talents to work. And most of all, they are honoring God in what the work they are doing and in raising their families. And it just pleases us to know and to see how they're all following Christ.
The whole thing came together because of Elaine's birthday, and the kids wanted to throw a birthday party for her, and they wanted it to be their doing, and they decided on a place called Mantanzas, which is a place we frequent, and it's just about a mile or so from the Pink Shell where we were staying, and it's a beautiful location, and they found a room there that they could house our total group, and that they had a table for her birthday cake and also the gift table. And Diana went to a lot of trouble and made little pictures of Elaine's life, which was really a sweet thing. And people enjoyed looking at who she was and who she's become. I'm very proud of Elaine. She has been my partner for these many years. We're just a couple years short of 60. And we used to think that people who had the 50th anniversary looked old. And so I'm really proud of her. And she takes care of herself and takes care of me. Some of our close friends from our Sunday school class were invited. The Sinkhorns, Bill and Barb. We spent a lot of time with them. The Hemblings, Mark and Diane. Diane has a lovely voice, and Mark is my broker. So I have to treat him good because I expect him to treat me good. And the Wrights, Portia and Bob.
Celine and Mac, our neighbors. And then we invited Denise and Roger Olson to come, and they're from Minnesota. They have been a major, major factor in our family for many, many years, and it really honored me to have them come to my birthday party.
After the Saturday night party, the cousins all wanted to have a group picture with all the cousins together and what they referred to as the outlaws. So they went up into the hotel room, the big lobby area with that big makeshift tree, and just had a blast up there having pictures taken by Rick.
And the outlaws were the in-laws, really, and they call themselves the Outlaws. And unfortunately, Ryan and Carrie couldn't join us because their kids were not feeling well. But outside of that, they were all there, and this is the result of the cousins and the Outlaws.
On Sunday morning, it was kind of a finale where we all gathered together in Jim and Martha's room, and Jim gave an outstanding devotional.
It was very fitting after Jim concluded his message that Ted felt led to give a blessing to everybody, each individually. He's been impressed by what the blessing really means, and it was meaningful touch. And he went around and gave a blessing by touching the head of each of the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, blessing their future, promising to always be there for them. And as he did that, it was very emotional because a blessing from the patriarch of the family is very, very meaningful. As he did that, you could see the emotion on the faces of each of the people who were receiving that blessing. And if a father had never given a blessing, at this time, now they received one, as Ted is the patriarch of the family.
At the end of the Sunday morning service, we all hugged and basically said our goodbyes and flew back to our homes or drove to, some cases, people just drove down. And that was just the beginning of the rest of their lives.
I think for me, there's nothing that could have been any sweeter or more memorable that we've ever had, is to have all of our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids together at such a happy time. And to have this opportunity when we were still all able to do it was a real big blessing for me. And I thank you, Ted.
Absolutely.
I thank you for allowing this to happen, because if you hadn't had the vision for it, it wouldn't have happened. And it was a real blessing to everybody that was there. We had such fun, and everybody had such fun. It was wonderful.
We love you, Gigi and Papa Ted. We love you, Grandma and Grandpa.